Almost 4,000 people evacuated from their homes in Iceland as risk of volcanic eruption remains high. Seismic activity in southwestern Iceland decreased in size and intensity on Monday, but the risk of a volcanic eruption remained significant, authorities said, after earthquakes and evidence of magma spreading underground in recent weeks. Located between the Eurasian and North American tectonic plates, among the largest on the planet, Iceland is a seismic and volcanic hotspot as the two plates move in opposite direction. The Icelandic Meteorological Office said on Monday there was a significant likelihood of an eruption in coming days or just off the Reykjanes Peninsula near the capital, Reykjavik, despite the size and intensity of earthquakes decreasing. Hey everybody, JT here, Serenity Farms Prepping. So how does a volcano in Iceland affect us? Does anyone remember Mount St. Helens in Washington State? All right. This volcano in Iceland has had over 1,200 earthquakes in the last 10 or 12 days. You saw that picture of that broken road. That's happened everywhere. They cleaned out that town of 4,000 people. The earthquakes are emanating from 3 miles deep. In order for the people to be feeling those, you can imagine the amount of pressure from that magma pushing up over the entire size of that town and countryside. That magma is looking for a place to come out. Now, the authorities there, the volcanologists, are positive that the volcano is going to erupt. What they can't be sure of, obviously, is just how bad it's going to be. Now, how this affects us is going to be determined by A, the size of the eruption, which leads directly to B, how high in the atmosphere the ash cloud goes. The higher up it goes, the longer it takes to dissipate. But either way, unless it's a dud, we're going to see some ash clouds blocking sunlight in certain parts of the country. How long that happens will be determined when it finally erupts. The reason I bring this up is because we already have a Democrat intentional food shortage for this year and for the future unknown, because they intentionally destroyed the food infrastructure, murdered tens of millions of cattle, tens of millions of pigs, and tens of millions of chickens to deplete our food supply. They also blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, cutting off Russia, the war in Ukraine. Those two incidences, Ukraine produced the majority of the wheat for the world, and Ukraine produces the majority of the fertilizer. Add to the fact Pedo Joe and the Democrat regime stopped all oil rigs in this country, depleted our emergency reserves of fuel, which means there's no diesel. All farm tractors, all tractor trailers, everything involved in the food infrastructure uses diesel. So we're already in a major food apocalypse. If you don't know that by now, you're going to very soon. Add to that, the world is currently in a GSM, or a grand solar minimum. Happens every 1,000 years or so, based on the tilt of our Earth's axis, the speed with which we rotate, and the cycle that we revolve around the sun. Every 1,000 years or so, we're just in a position that's unavoidable, where the planet is just going to get less sun, and it's going to drop the temperatures worldwide. Now, only 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. That doesn't sound like a lot until you convert it to Fahrenheit. And that isn't on a thermometer a big difference, but it is to plants and vegetables and photosynthesis, which is required for all of them to grow. This should peak about 2025 and last for 5 or 6 years, right around 2030. Now that is a coincidence. Okay, but the Eastern European countries, they're going to be really cold, but they won't freeze to death. But it will affect the food production in places like Spain and Morocco, and even here in America, especially up where I live in Northeast New York, where our season is already short. Remember, every few years it seems like Florida gets a overnight frost and an entire state's citrus crop is wiped out. Well, picture that for the entire planet for several years running, with our already intentionally depleted food supply. Now add this Iceland volcano, and you see where this all goes. Get your butts out there and get some food. I don't care where you get it. We've said this time and time again. But if you choose to, www.storagechef.com, SFP15. There's a lot of companies out there. Get to your grocery stores, team up with friends and relatives, go to Sam's Club, buy in bulk, do whatever you can. There's no food, and there's no plan to make any. No matter who wins, even if there was an election in 24, there's still no food. You cannot make it magically appear. All right, that's all I got. For now, JT, signing off.